Today, our topic is on immune health, ways to keep our immunity strong and the different systems and organs we may not think are connected to keeping our immune system strong. So we're going to talk on that today. Um, and again, it's a Q&A. We always have a topic of discussion, but the Q&A part is open to any questions you have about the herbs. So, feel free in the chat, which is to my right, might be to some of you guys' left, is open the whole time for you to ask your questions, any kind of questions, herbal related questions. um, and and yeah, so later on we are supposed to have a little guest um speaker. Well, I should just say just a guest that some of you probably actually know. She's going to just talk a little bit on this topic too of immune health. And yeah, it should be fun. She's very knowledgeable. So we'll get right into it today. And as always, we always let you know that we are not medical doctors. We are not connected with medical fields in any way, and we do not diagnose or cure any disease. We don't treat any disease. So just to leave that in mind, we talk about herbs. We give information on herbs and what the benefits of what they do, and just give people a little bit more knowledge on what their body is all about, what's going on inside. A lot of us don't know or are unaware of different functions of our body. So it's just bringing awareness of the body and how it is always wanting to help you. It's always there to keep you alive and to keep you healthy. It's not a fight that the body is not fighting against you. It's always wanting to work with you, but only working with you in the sense that whatever you are giving it, whatever you are fueling it with, whatever it's able to pull, the nutrients it's able to pull from what you're consuming, that will determine how strong and how well different systems and organs will function properly. So I did want to start off. I always read quite a bit from this book, take a lot of information from this book, Own Your Own Body. Apologize, it's a little beat up. It's quite old, but it's a great book. And so I'll be reading out of it quite a bit tonight and just, giving as much information as possible on the immune health. I know right now it's a weird time, at least in California, Southern California, and other parts of the world, I know. But right now we're having weather where it's been there's been a lot of moisture in the air, and then it flipped this weekend to being very, very dry and very hot. So it went from being on the cooler side and very wet, a lot of humidity, and then now it's very dry. And, the body goes through a lot of ups and downs. And so I know a lot of people aren't feeling well at the moment. So we just have to keep our systems strong. And speaking of it getting cold, it's actually getting a little cold in this room. So if I get up at some point just to close the door a little bit, that's why. Um, but we'll get right into it. So I wanted to start off, and I like to start off this way most of the time, is just giving you this summary of why do herbs work? Why do they work? What are they? What is the reasoning behind why we take herbs? Some people know, some people don't know, and some of us just need little reminders too. Someone's closing the window for me. Thank you. Um, so yeah, this is a really good one because even for myself, when I read it, I'm like, oh yes, that is why. That is why I take the herbs that I take on a continuous basis. So again, just a reminder. We all need a reminder from time to time. Um, and just to keep studied, just to keep studied up, I guess would be the best way. to say this. So herbs, why they work. Herbs feed and they regulate. They cleanse the body. They cleanse the body. Herbs are very high in vitamins and especially minerals. So I'll just kind of sidebar here. When people come to us and say, what do you have? Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, this vitamin, this mineral. We don't specifically have products that say, oh, this is vitamin A, vitamin B, calcium, magnesium, because ultimately vitamins, minerals are being extracted from a plant. They're being extracted from an herb. So that's why we'll say, well, this herb is known to be high in these vitamins and these minerals, but we aren't going to say, oh, this is vitamin D. So just wanted to sidebar there just to say, that's why my father, the founder of our company, always emphasized just herbs. He didn't want to get too into vitamins and minerals. All right, so he also says here that the organs are the glands of the body. Excuse me, I read that wrong. The organs and the glands of the body require these rich sources of vitamins and minerals in order to function adequately. Any herb which contains these particular elements is going to be good for that organ because it contains the minerals or the elements which that organ requires. And it's here, he gives an example. He says, for example, many herbs contain zinc, which is good for the pancreas. But not only does the pancreas require zinc, but so do the reproductive and other organs. Any herb high in these elements will help any organ that require that particular element for function. So, you know, that's the other beauty. That's the beautiful thing I should say about herbs is that you're working on one thing, it's gonna help a lot of the times with like 20 other things or more because the herbs are just so full of, again, the vitamins and minerals and all of our systems and every organ requires a vitamin or mineral or both. So you're gonna work on one area. Some people will be like, oh, I was working on these headaches I had. And they're like, but like my digestive system feels better. Like I feel like I'm digesting my food better, or my skin is clearing up. It's like, well, yeah, because the herbs are doing all that they are required to do. And the herb is so intelligent, it knows what area is like under distress or needs the nutrients and needs the help. Um, that it's going to go to it. And if that particular organ doesn't need it, it's not going to go there, and it's going to eliminate out whatever is not necessary, but it's going to hold on to whatever it feels it needs. So that's why we take herbs here. All right, so moving right along. Again, this we're emphasizing immune system today. The lymphatic system is a big part of the immune system, but immune health. So um, another thing that I shouldn't say Mr. Dr. Stan Malmstrom, he's a naturopathic doctor. He's the one who wrote this book. He talks about, and this is something we talk a lot about, is we cannot separate the body. The body is a whole entire system. And when one part is affected, pardon me, English is a little bit complicated for me today. But when one part is affected, so many other parts are affected. We cannot divide up the body and say, oh, I have a thyroid problem and that's not that can't be connected in any way to like this issue I'm having with my foot, like with gout or something like that. It definitely, yeah, it can be because your body is depleted and out of balance. So you're usually not going to have a system where one thing is going wrong and nothing else is going wrong. It's like just this one thing. No, there's always signs that And it's a domino effect because you didn't address one issue, it's dominoing. So look at the body as a whole. And when we can consume the right things, that is the best, ultimately the best. Um, and something I wanted to emphasize today about immune health is we think of it as, you know, obviously if we get sick, for not feeling well, and the things we consume play a big part, yes, but also our stress levels play a huge, huge part in that. Um, it's more detrimental, I think, than anything. Stress and emotions, heightened emotions. And I will say stress in the sense of like chronic stress. We can't avoid stress in our lives all the time, unfortunately. And some level of stress is actually good for the body. I know that sounds strange, but it creates like this urgency and it creates I won't get too deep into all this, but it kind of keeps us going, keeps us moving. I just think, for example, as moms, right? I mean, when you're taking care of a baby, there's no way that that's going to be just this smooth, wonderful process all the time. It's just not life. But, their bodies can keep going, keep and just God created them to withstand that. And it's a beautiful thing. Of course, yes, moms do need to be aware of what they're consuming as well, because all that plays a factor. But, that's a level of stress, but it's not this chronic, chronic stress is something that's like, or something is always consuming your brain. It's a constant thing that your body is never given a break. I'm going to go a little deeper into this in a little bit, but that constant state of imbalance in your body from stress also creates an imbalance in the hormones in your body as well. And that severely, severely, oh, and also, sorry, the heightened how the cortisol that is constantly being released because of stress, it all really lowers the immune system and its ability to um help the immune system stay strong. So, yeah, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but I'm going to go into it right now. Um, there's some information here that I thought was really, really, really interesting, so I wanted to share it with all of you. So it says, chronic stress is what happens when your body is in fight or flight mode so often that it gets stuck in that mode. This doesn't mean you feel stressed nonstop, only that you feel stressed often enough that your body doesn't have time to revert to its normal state of being before the next phase of stress happens again. And it can be caused by anything. It's something like hating your job, to a bad relationship, to sitting in traffic for hours a day because it's affecting your mind and your body. And because you're overproducing, like I said, you're overproducing cortisol and other stress hormones to an extent that your body can't create enough feel-good chemicals to balance you out. And when you feel stressed, another thing that happens is you don't digest your food well. It's because in periods of stress, our blood is focused on our muscles, but when we eat, we need adequate blood to go to our gut to digest our food, and accordingly, eating while under the influence of stress. I like how they worded that. Eating under the influence of stress leads to poor digestion and nutrient absorption. So it's interesting when I read this too, because we now know about gut health and how 70 up, it could be even more, but up to 70% of our immune system is in our gut. 70%. And that's just what they know of as of now. It might be more than that. Um, 70% of our immune system is in our gut. It makes so much sense though. So when I read this about, when we're stressed and how we don't digest our food well, I was like, well, that makes complete sense. And sorry, not Cairo, acupuncturist that I go to, she would talk to me about, because I tend to have a slow digestive system, a sensitive digestive system, and it's also like affects with the spleen and the gallbladder. So that's my area of weakness. Everybody has a different area of weakness. But she would say, don't eat when you're sad. Don't eat when you're feeling really stressed out. She said, don't even eat when you're overly excited. And there's, the thing that people say is like, especially for women. I can't even say it's just women though, men too. When you're like in this state of sadness, you want to eat, you want comfort food, but also when we're in a state of happiness, we want comfort food. It's like this, blanket that makes us feel good eating. And so realizing now that that's really the opposite of what you want to do. Because when you're in those heightened state of being, uh, digesting your food is almost impossible. So, another thing about stress is that it creates inflammation. Long-term inflammation is a leading cause of illness, and stress causes inflammation. They say there was this study done that 75 to 90% of human diseases are related to the activation of the stress system. Chronic stress directly leads to systematic inflammation, in which our body is essentially attacking itself, and this process makes it more difficult for our bodies to ward off illnesses. So, stress, guys, is a big one. Um, and again, like I mentioned earlier, stress, trauma, sadness, all of those things, and more, that create any kind of undue, like, that stress and burden on your body. And so, like I said about the gut, knowing that that large amount of our immune system is in our gut is important to know, because also, and we'll get more into this later, the lymphatic system, which runs from head to toe in our body, we have a lot of lymph nodes in the gut area, the colon, and we have a lot of nerve endings, like endless amount of nerve endings in the colon and the gut. So when those systems are burdened, and clogged and blocked, that's going to cause another layer of issues to keeping your immune system strong. And I wanted to also share this as well about the gut. So the gut is home to trillions of microorganisms, collectively known as gut microbiota. I always say that incorrectly. But it's, the gut yeah, biota. A lot of people talk about the bacteria in the gut, and this is essentially what they're talking about here. These microorganisms play a vital role in maintaining gut health and influencing brain function. Got that gut brain connection here. They produce neurotransmitters, vitamins, and other molecules that can impact the central nervous system. Huh, interesting, because they're just saying how the nervous system is in the gut. And here's where they talk about the immune system in the gut. The gut-brain axis is also involves interactions between the gut microbiota and the immune system. An imbalance in the gut can lead to immune dysregulation, which has been associated with various neurological conditions, including anxiety and depression. So very fascinating. I know that in Own Your Own Body book, Dr. Malmstrom does talk about how, I know this is going a little off topic as far as immune, but it's still very on topic at the same time. He talks about how your, people with depression and it just varies, but talks about how like the chemicals, the pesticides and just the additives in our food really are really, really affecting the gut and the brain, the chemicals. And also, he talks about how excessive amounts of meat can contribute to depression as well, which I thought was very, very fascinating, because I've always thought of more so about like sugar. because sugar is a drug essentially into our brains, processed sugar. And all the lifeless junk food, all the different chips and soft drinks and even the juices that are basically the same as soda nowadays, and candy. But he talks about how excessive amounts of meat also can contribute to that. And so, there's this there's like an awakening, I guess you could say, about people realizing what role food plays in their diet and in their like with their immune system, with their energy levels, with their brain health. But there's still more, that needs to be put out there about that, because what we're consuming, and also I should say what we're consuming goes beyond, what we're eating and drinking. It's what we watch, it's what we the environment we're in. Um, it's even down to the products we put on our skin, which I am going to get into that a bit more as well. Um, what we put on our skin is another big one. So I'm going to kind of transition to that right now, actually, because I wanted to talk on some main factors. So as far as the immune health goes, I wanted to talk on the gut, which we just went over, the lymphatic system, the stress levels, the bloodstream, the food we're eating, and externally on the products that we put on our skin, which is another big topic of discussion that gets looked over very often. I think it gets looked over more so for people that don't have an immediate reaction to skin care products or perfumes or makeups, but for those of us who maybe don't have reactions, it doesn't seem like it's a factor, but it definitely makes a difference, you know. But again, we'll go into that in a bit. But we'll start with the blood, because the blood is going to tie into the skin. It's going to tie into why what we put on our skin is so important. So the bloodstream, we know that blood is important. It carries a lot of nutrients, it holds on to a lot of nutrients. Um, it's like the life of the body. And yes, like Miss Kate said, it is the largest organ. It's the largest organ of the body. When we think of organs as our colon, our lungs, our liver, our gallbladder, but our skin is the biggest organ, and it's the biggest eliminative organ too. We talked a bit about this on our last Q&A, um, where we were speaking on the channels of elimination. So, that's something to keep in mind. Skin is one of the largest eliminative organs, and we'll circle back to that in a moment. But I wanted to read this from Stan Malmstrom's book, Dr. Stan Malmstrom's book. So he has a first aid for impure blood. Says the symptoms of impure blood may range from simple skin manifestations to severe nervous and um, physical ailments. Boils, pimples, jaundice, and wrinkles are noticeable on the skin. Headaches and drowsiness act as warning signals for needed blood cleansing. Poor mental attitude, irritability, and stiff joints are later indications of unclean blood. So if anybody's dealing with this is why the blood is so important. To purify the blood, a thorough program in cleaning out the system should be instituted, he says. As a primary step, all bad or foodless foods, such as sugar, tea, coffee, alcohol. Okay, and when he says tea, herbal teas are fine. It's the other kind of teas that are not giving us any health benefits. Tea, coffee, alcohol, soft drinks, white flour, like my father would say. White flour, white rice, white pasta, pizza, meats, cheese, spaghetti, macaroni, cheese, all the white things. Yeah, all those things should be eliminated from your diet. A second essential in the regimen is keeping the bowels clean. Hmm. Always goes back to that colon. Keeping the bowels clean and a good working condition with a lower bowel tonic and enemas. Enemas. I personally have never had an enema. I know they're incredible. I've done colonics quite a bit. Actually due to get one of those done. Um, but yeah, enemas are incredible. Enemas are great. I actually want to start doing that in the new year because you can add, like, for instance, with the colonic, it's usually just water. Some people will add something to it, but most of the time it's just water. But with enema, you can do like garlic enemas. You can even do coffee enemas. You can add, there's just different things you can add to an enema that really goes in and has even more healing properties and helps to excrete different, more toxins from the colon. So something to keep in mind, those enemas. It says good health rules to be followed in building up the body. The third important part in blood purification consists of the following: drinking plush, drinking plenty of fresh water, exercise outdoors regularly, sleep in a well-ventilated room, breathe deeply and correctly. That's a big one for people I know. It says unless you're hypoglycemic, eat a fruit diet for 1 week, then follow it with the Vital Life diet. He has a diet in this book. It's called Vital Life Diet, and it has a lot to do with eating raw greens and green juices. So he really is an advocate for juicing and the greens. Literally every ailment that he talks about, and again, my dad pulled so much knowledge from this book. But every ailment pretty much under the sun, when you go to his index, it always reverts to, yes, you can use these herbs, but your greens as well. Juicing greens, eating greens. So he's very big on that. He also talks about how using massage therapy for loosening toxins and stimulating the system. Herbs with special blood purifying qualities are the number one is capsicum. Isn't that interesting? Capsicum, red cayenne pepper, red powdered pepper, however you call it. That's one that is in a lot of our combinations because my father loved cayenne pepper. We even sell it with ginger as just two ingredients. A very powerful product. Capsicum does just about everything, helps just about every part of the body. Some other great herbs for the blood is golden seal, which we do have, peppermint. We also have valerian. People know valerian as great for the nervous system, but it's also great for the blood as well. Hawthorn berries, another big one my father loved. And herbs like blessed thistle, yeah, blue cohosh, black cohosh is another one, burdock, yellow dock. We have our blood builder, which doesn't have every single one of those listed, but it's a really great blood builder and cleanser. So I like here in the book he talks about the blood and then it goes right into the lymphatic system. So I did want to cover some of the lymphatic. The lymphatic, which I actually want to show you guys a picture right now. Give me 1 second, because I would love for you guys to see, for those who may not know, what the lymphatic system looks like. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. And I hope you all, okay, perfect. You guys can all see that. Okay. So this gives you an idea. I mean, look at the lymphatic system, top. That's why when people ask about the lymphatic or I talk about the lymphatic at the counter with customers, I'm like, look, the lymphatic is going from your head all the way down to your toes, literally from head to toe. We have more lymphatic fluid in our body than we have blood in our body. And I know I've said this many times, but just hear me out once more. I can't promise this will be the last time I will talk about it because it won't. It's just such an important system that not a lot of us know about. So the lymph nodes, excuse me, the lymph system, lymphatic, oh my goodness. I apologize. The lymphatic fluid is a color odorless liquid which flows through the lymphatic vessels of the body and it manufactures most of the body's white blood cells. We need those. We need those for the immune. And fun fact, most of the cells of the body never come in direct contact with the blood, but receive their nutrients and supplies directly from the lymphatic fluid. Oh, it's amazing. It really is amazing. Okay, so I wanted to share this as well. The lymph glands or nodes um, are found throughout the body. These are the manufacturing mechanisms of the system. The lymph dumps material into the nodes, and they in turn refine the material and produce corpuscles and building blocks for body absorption. So we find clusters, like for instance, in this picture you see here, there's clusters in certain areas of the body more than others. A lot of the times it's in the areas that where we bend, also too, like in the growing area. For women, yeah, like they said, in female, a lot of lymph vessels and nodes in the breast area, naturally. See here in the knees as well. So what happens here? Okay, so I'm going to finish this part here. We find clusters of these nodes in the growing, along the spine, in the throat, under the armpit, and many other places. These nodes are about the size of a small almond in their healthy state. However, when they become overloaded with toxins, they swell to several times their usual size and can become very painful. This is very evident when there are infections, colds, or mumps, things of that nature. Since there are about twice as many lymph vessels in the body as there are blood vessels, it is apparent that the lymphatic system is a tremendous ally in fighting disease if it is cared for properly. So here he talks about excess protein. So this is why, again, what we're eating and how much of what we're eating. So he talks about too, when we are over consuming, apologies here, when we are over consuming protein, meat protein. So he says, according to Guiton, I might be pronouncing this person's name wrong. In the textbooks of medical physiology, the presence of excess protein in the system is the cause of many serious degenerative diseases. Protein molecules, being larger than most other molecules of the body, can block the lymph system, the permeable walls of the lymphatics, as well as the tubes themselves, whose function it is to get rid of excess protein in the body. If the lymphs get plugged to the point that they cannot move protein out of the system for a period of time, degenerative disease and death can occur. The lymphatic system represents an accessory route by which fluids can flow from the interstitial spaces into the blood. Most important of all, the lymphatics can carry protein and large particulate matter away from the tissue spaces, neither of which can be removed by the absorption directly into the blood capillaries. We shall see that this removal of proteins from the I'm saying this wrong, I apologize. We can see that the removal of proteins from the interstitial spaces is an absolute essential function without which we would die within about 24 hours. So, how important is the lymphatic system? Extremely important. There's a part here that I did want to touch on about the lymph nodes. It was very interesting. But of course now I am not seeing it. I do like here he does talk about in fighting infections in the lymphatic system, the diet should consist primarily of green drinks and raw vegetables and fruit. He does say that daily enemas are very important and extremely beneficial in relieving congestion. Some herbs which are extremely helpful, things such as echinacea. We have that in our product called Lymphatic Health. Golden seal root, cayenne, which is also in that combination as well. And this is another very interesting thing he talks about. Usually stress is a factor in lymphatic congestion. So it is wise to keep the person as relaxed as possible. Massage therapy is very helpful for the connective tissues and is beneficial for moving fluid out of the glands. I thought that was very eye-opening too. Again, the stress system. So again, just take a really good look at this picture because I like it gives a visual to people that aren't familiar with the lymph nodes. Um, it's something so important. The thymus here, that's a big part of our lymphatic system. The bone marrow, of course. Tonsils is another big one. So tonsils are very important for our immune system, keeping those tonsils healthy. Um, all right, so moving on here. The part about the lymph nodes that people should know, because it's like, okay, we know it's important, but what do we do about it? Well, herbs are fantastic for it. Herbs that he mentioned, like echinacea, garlic is incredible. Capsicum, turmeric or turmeric, however you want to pronounce it. Um, mullein is incredible. Um, rose hips is another great one as well. The list can go on and on. Aloe vera is actually very good as well. So, the product we have is called Lymphatic Health, and it has a combination of pretty much all those that I mentioned. Um, and yeah, it's a product that I've been taking a little bit more of lately because of this changing of the season. But a really big part of the lymph nodes is that you have to be active. You have to get active in some way. And active could just mean like a 20-minute walk. Um, it can mean jumping up and down. If you have some people call it a bouncer, but it's a trampoline. Um, jumping up and down because has the blood has the heart to pump the blood, but the lymphatic system does not have a pump of its own. When we move, that pumps that fluid, it keeps it flowing, it keeps it moving. And also, consuming water to help flush out those toxins from the lymphatic fluid. But we have to be active. That's why people that aren't active and they're dealing with swelling a lot, and I'm not saying people that are active don't deal with swelling, because again, what we're eating clogs up the lymph nodes. But it's even worse if you're someone who's not active and dealing with swelling or edema. That's a big part of it, is that you're not being active. So that's important. And he talks about this here. He says with, exercise is necessary for efficient blood circulation. They've done endless studies where, athletes can maybe not have the greatest diet, but they can maintain um, a healthier or a faster metabolism and kind of get away with eating more meat for a period of time because they're burning so much and their metabolism is so fast because they're so active. But again, an excess of that is going to cause them problems too in the long run. But I liked how he talks here. He says, let's see. Okay, so this blood, I'm gonna start from the beginning. So tests have been ran between athletes and sedentary workers that show athletes or workers who do hard manual labor exhibit 4 times more blood running through their big muscles as do people who are sedentary. This blood accomplishes a cleansing action in the system. The blood flows, it cleanses. The uric acid and lactic acids do not settle in the muscles. Many young people who are very active can maintain good health for a surprising length of time on a poor diet because of this principle. Uric and lactic acid will settle in the muscles of a less active person. Active people can also tolerate, like I mentioned, a higher tolerance of protein intake without ill effects because they burn the protein rapidly. Exercise helps to burn up excess waste in the system by stimulating the metabolism. And this is where he talks about lymphatics. Another major function of exercise is to help protect the lymphatic system, the guardian of the body and its health. The only way this system can pump materials into the vena cava area is through exercise and nerve and muscle responses. Through the use of exercise, the body can force waste materials through the lymphatic system up into the vena cava and out of the body. The lymph glands need to be functioning all the time in order to get rid of the toxins in the body and to get fresh materials moved from one area of the body to another. Exercise is the only way to move these fluids. And he talks about how I mentioned a minute ago, the blood has the heart for a pump, but there's no pump for the lymphatic system. And how many people will suffer from edema and swelling in the extremities because lymph glands are not getting enough stimulation to pull the toxins out of the extremities. For people who don't know what extremities means, the hands, the feet, and the head too, actually, extremities. And he also talks about how exercise can solve the problem of improper elimination. A lot of congestion happens in the colon and can be improved or alleviated through exercise, hiking, walking, jogging, or bicycle riding. So I just like how he breaks that down. Obviously, we know exercise helps weight loss, but it's just overall health. It's just for your overall well-being. So let's move on here to the skin because it's all connected. But the skin will is a big factor as far as polluted what we're putting on, what we're using even in our clothes to wash our clothes. It's on our skin, and we are wearing these things on our skin for prolonged periods of time. So it's just absorbing it. These pores are like little mouths all along our skin, and they just absorb everything. So some information here that I thought was very fascinating is how it talks about how the skin absorbs substances in two primary ways, through the hair follicles and sweat ducts, or directly through the skin's barrier. Substances that are small and fat soluble can easily penetrate through the skin's barrier, while larger and water soluble substances pass through the hair follicles and sweat ducts. It's important to know that the skin's ability to absorb substances varies depending on factors such as the thickness of the skin, the health of the skin bearer, the person, and the concentration of the substance being applied. Additionally, certain areas of the body, such as the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet, have a very high rate of absorption due to a higher concentration of sweat glands. So while the skin can be beneficial in delivering medication and topical treatments to targeted areas, it also possesses significant risks, particularly if harmful substances are absorbed by the body. As we know, it can cause skin irritation, allergic reactions, and even cancers. It is important to be aware of the ingredients in the products that we're using on our skin, as well as the potential risks associated with skin absorption. Some common ingredients found in skincare and personal care products, such as parabens and phthalates, I think I'm saying that right, have been linked to hormone disruption and other health concerns. Choosing products with natural and non-toxic ingredients can help reduce the risks associated with skin absorption. And why is this important for the immune system? Because it's getting into the bloodstream. There's like a filtration system that happens when we eat something. There's a whole filter that happens, and the liver is part of that filtration. So we have so many layers of protection, but like with the skin, yes, there are layers of protection, but it's much more susceptible to taking in the toxins faster into the bloodstream. So being very aware of, yes, down to the makeup we're wearing, to the sunscreen that we're using. Really, you don't want to use store-bought sunscreen. You want to find something natural, like very, very natural. And like I said, the detergent that you're using as well. Also, what you are putting on for a moisturizer on your skin, all these different acne washes, which again, with acne too, a big part of that is working on the gut first and the hormones. And how they said here that it causes hormone disruption. A lot of these products can cause hormone imbalances, disruptions from what we're applying to our skin, the colognes are a big one. Um, you just got to know what's in it. You need to know. It directly affects your blood, and essentially it gets into the cells of the body. So it's a very big one. Um, so like I mentioned earlier, what we're eating is a big factor, and we've touched on that quite a bit already. Um, and so I do have a special guest that I want to bring in just a moment. So she's going to actually talk about food and um, about juicing a bit as well, because she's really into juicing and raw foods, which is so important. Again, that's like the basis of and the foundation for all good health is what you're eating. But I did want to just put in the chat real quick the list of products that are very good for this time of year, the transition that's happening. Not just the transition, but again, it is the holiday times coming up. So we're eating a lot of things that we shouldn't be. So these herbs that we're listing here, they're great immune boosters, but they're also great to help detox your body. Of course, Superlax, number one, always. We have our lymphatic health because we talked a lot about lymphatic tonight. The golden seal. You do get a little bit of golden seal in the lymphatic health, but the golden seal we also sell on its own. Silver seal is a great liquid. Right now, we are actually out of stock of silver. I just want to let you guys know that we're sold out at the moment. But another great one, blood builder, because we're talking about blood detoxification, blood building, great source of iron. Because also too, when you are consuming sugar, it is creating a disruption with the amount of iron that we can assimilate into our blood when we're eating sugar, because it's the acidity from the sugar really affects our iron. So why are so many people anemic? Why are so many people iron deficient? Big part of it is sugar. Not the only reason, but a big part is sugar. You have our maintenance, daily preventative and maintenance, our liquid chlorophyll, the liver build, is great, cleaning out the liver. And when you're working on the liver, that's also helping to keep your bloodstream very nourished and clean as well. Lung health, great for the lungs, clearing up mucus out of the lungs. People that have dealt with coughs really love the lung health. So that one's helping to just open up the bronchioles and just keeping stronger lungs, because we also have a lot of lymph nodes in our lung. So it helps with that fluid in the lungs. And the Head Start, of course, cold and flu time. Head Start is incredible. I take Head Start every day. It's just like I have to take Head Start because it's also great for memory, focus, taste, smell, vision. So Head Start's like one of my number ones. So I listed in the chat there. Like I said, you guys, if you have questions, let me know. You guys have been very quiet tonight. But I do want to bring in our special guest, Miss Kate Wharton. Some of you know her. She is incredible. She has a social media page on Instagram where she is cooking up different recipes, but a big part of what she does is raw juice recipes and cleanses and fasts. So she's the woman to talk to about that. So if you have any questions for her, you can talk with her also. Um, so let me bring her in. I hope you're ready. Miss Kate. Oh, there she is.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. So yes, we wanted to bring you in because, if you have anything you would like to add, I know you even mentioned about the skin being the largest organ, and loved your comment on that because that's so true. But what
Yeah,
do you
you said it all, Danielle. I liked how you how you especially honed in on the gut because that's the main thing. We're learning so much about the gut nowadays, and everything we eat directly influences our gut microbiome, So
Mhm.
yes,
Yes,
the food is very important. I consider the herbs food also because they're plants, My
yeah,
something I always say on Instagram is eat more plants. And so the herbs are included. So the herbs go together with what we're eating, you know,
yes,
and to improve our immune system, it's important to get in a lot of fruits and vegetables because the fiber is good for your gut, and things like processed foods and animal protein, there's no fiber in those. All your
Mhm.
fiber comes from fruit and vegetables. So those are the things that we should be eating. Also, fruits and vegetables contain lots of vitamins and minerals. Like you said, the guy, I guess the author of the book was talking about lots of greens.
Mhm.
Yes, greens are very important for minerals, and fruits are very important for vitamins.
Mm.
The fruit grows on trees, and so it's further from the soil. It's all the way up the tree
Mhm.
trunk, and then the tree is hanging. So the fruit gets all the vitamins and stuff from the sun. Excuse me.
Mm.
But the greens, the vegetables are closer to the soil, so they're taking up, the minerals from
Mm.
the soil. So we get our vitamins. I mean, fruit does have minerals also, but mainly the greens. So you get your vitamins, especially vitamin C from fruits, and
Mhm.
um, you get your minerals from the greens. So we need both of them, very, very important. And we should be eating lots instead of making animal protein like the main part of your meal. It should just be like a condiment, kind of like the
Mm.
way that the Asians use it, you see,
Yes.
just small pieces, just a little handful as a
Mhm.
condiment, and then the rest of your plate should be, vegetables and
Yes.
whole grains if you
Mhm.
eat those. Yes. So those are the things that help your gut microbiome, like you were saying,
That's the word
garlic.
I was looking for earlier, microbiome. I will say
Yes.
I was trying so hard to think of the word. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But things like citrus fruits are really good for this time of year because that's what's growing. Lots of citrus in the fall and in the winter. And, is it a coincidence that God made it that way? No, because, we
Mm.
need a lot of vitamin C, which is what the citrus provides. And some people
Yeah.
forget that there are certain things that we don't really consider as fruit, but they are like bell peppers. Those are fruits because they have seeds. And a red bell pepper, I think, has twice as much vitamin C as an orange. So,
Mm.
yes, it's really important to have those. You mentioned turmeric is very good. Turmeric, and I think also green tea is good for immune. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Antioxidants in there.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and it's important to eat colors, eat your colors, eat the rainbow, because
Mm.
that's where you're getting more vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in the food. The more colorful your food, the more nutritious, that particular food is. So you want to eat like I said, citrus, and most citrus fruits are, the color orange or
Mm.
carrots, all the orange colored foods are beta carotene, and beta carotene converts into vitamin A, and vitamin A helps your body to move out toxins, to respond to toxins. So it's important to eat the rainbow, eat your colors, eat your fruits and veggies. Like mom always told us when we were younger, she was absolutely right. We should
Yeah.
be eating, the bulk of our diet should be fruits and vegetables because that's where all the um, most of the nutrition is. Yes.
Yeah.
And then,
Living food.
huh?
I'll say living food. It's alive.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And try to eat more like, excuse me, to build our immunity, we need to try to eat more raw foods, more raw fruits and vegetables. Because when we apply heat to our food, it, takes away some of the nutrition. It burns off some of the nutrition, especially the vitamins and minerals. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, more raw foods, more, uncooked foods like fruit and, vegetables. Try not to cook them, have more salads. I don't eat everything raw. Like I don't like raw broccoli. So I just,
Mm,
yeah, I just steam it lightly, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but not to like boil it. You don't boil any of your vegetables because,
Mhm.
like I said, you're just all the minerals and vitamins are going in the water, you
Yeah.
know, and then we
Yeah.
just throw that out. But some
Yeah.
people drink it. They call it pot liquor.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
Pot liquor, they get that from the collard greens because we cook our collard greens way too long, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. And all the stuff is in the juice, in the water. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, more raw fruits and vegetables to help build up your immune system. Yep.
So important. So important. And you do a lot of juicing, which I know I'm just kind of curious a little bit too. Like, do you juice just as much during this time of year, or do you go heavier with the juicing during the summertime, springtime? And like, I know you go definitely by like what's in season too,
Hmm.
but I'm
Well,
just curious
for
about that.
for juicing, during the summer, I don't juice as much because there's
Oh,
so many juicy fruits out there. You're really, because I mentioned fiber. Fiber is very important, number one. So juicing removes a lot of the fiber.
mm-hmm.
So during the summer where there's lots of melons, watermelons, all the beautiful fruit, I'm
Yeah.
eating my fruit. But I know as Americans, we don't get enough greens, just like the author of that book was saying. So I'm eating my fruit in the summer and juicing my greens because I know I'm not getting as much as I need in my diet. And when you juice the greens, I mean, you're getting so much of the minerals that that we need that we aren't
Yeah.
getting. And then
Definitely.
during the winter, I juice a lot of citrus because that's what's available, a lot of citrus. I eat them and I'll juice them too. Um,
No.
and and my greens also. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's
And the
great.
fiber is important, but the point of juicing is to remove the fiber, most of the fiber, so that you get all the vitamins and minerals, you get them directly, quickly into your cells because your body is
Mm,
not busy working to break down the fiber. It's
mm,
already, been taken out. So as soon as you drink like a green juice, you could feel, the
yeah.
energy right away. You feel a big difference. So that's why I juice. And it depends, like if you're trying to work on something specific in your health, juicing
Mm,
is really good. Like to do it for up to 3 to 7 days, depending
hmm.
what you're working on in your body,
Yeah.
because the body heals when it's not digesting, because I think like 90% of the time your body is digesting because we eat all the time. We're always eating, three
Mm,
meals plus snacks in between. So we're constantly eating. And so the body is, you know, uh,
con- stay.
continually, yeah,
Mm,
working, digesting everything. And then at
yeah.
night, sometimes when we sleep, people eat late at night, midnight snacks and things like that. So the body does not really have time to work on repairing and healing.
Yes.
So when you're juicing, you're giving your body that break because you're
Hmm.
taking the fiber out of the food.
Yeah.
And so the body has time to repair.
Hmm.
So that's the point of juicing.
That makes sense. No, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, because it's like, I know it takes like a lot of energy, to break down food, but then also what I was reading earlier is just like a good reminder, like the amount of the blood too that kind of goes to that area when you're digesting your food, like a lot of it was interesting when was reading that, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, the blood, and like it makes sense because a lot of the life and the energy is in the blood. So that's also being affected too, is your bloodstream when you're constantly
Mhm.
digesting food. And then this way when you're giving your digestive system that break, it's like even your bloodstream is like less exhausted, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And and it's being able to get cleansed and built up faster because it's not like using all its energy and attention towards digesting food too.
Right. Yes. One
Yeah.
thing, that I wanted to say was that you were talking about the lymphatic system. And, I was a nurse. I was a nurse for 18 years. And when I went to nursing school, they did not teach us the lymphatic system. The
Mm,
no, they taught us, where the lymph nodes were and what they do and things like that. But they didn't call it a system. They taught us the circulatory system, which is the blood. And when I got into more of the holistic ways of doing things, I wondered why, did they do that? Because you just said there are
mm,
twice uh, the um, the lymphatic system is twice as much as the blood,
yeah.
but they don't teach that, on the medical side. They
Mm,
teach us the circulatory system or the blood system and
mm,
not the lymphatic system. They don't think of it as a system
mm,
at all. Yeah. But that's
wow.
strange because uh, we put all day long, we're putting into our bodies. So there must be some kind of elimination. You
Mhm,
There must
mhm.
be some kind of elimination. There's an in and there's an out.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
didn't really teach us, that because the lymphatic system has to, clear out and get rid of things. I call it like the kitchen bathroom kind
I
of
like that.
the body. So yeah, it's really I had to kind of like
Interesting.
unlearn a lot of things from
Mm,
nursing to a lot of things that your dad, taught
wow.
us.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You would think that they would talk about that too, because especially when you have patients that are in might be bedridden or laying in bed for a long time like that, like if they could get the massaging of the lymph nodes more, that would help with swelling and just different issues. So you would think
Mhm.
because there's a lot of sedentary people in
Right.
hospital beds that you would learn more about the lymphatic. So I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't, that was a long time ago. But I still don't think they do that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Just
Wow.
like just like they don't do nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Nutrition.
didn't we
That's
didn't
true.
learn much nutrition and in nursing school, and like 95% of what we go through illnesses are from what we eat, you know, from the
Yeah.
gut. Yeah.
What we put in, because it's not coming out and it's not designed.
Right. Yeah.
Layers of waste. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I do see someone left a question. I like on it because you answered your question. But I'll just address a little bit. You're saying what's the best herbal formula to cleanse your gut? Is this a super lax? Number one, super lax. Yes, number one is super lax. And then like Kate was just saying, what you're eating, what you're consuming, the gut microbiome, the fruits, the vegetables, the greens, you need that. There's the chlorophyll that we have too is very good. It's greens. Chlorophyll is great, and we'll tell people, especially for people that just really don't eat their greens at all. But ultimately, you want to incorporate the real thing too. Chlorophyll is helpful, but just you want, spinach, broccoli, kale, chard, whatever it is, dandelion, things like that. You need that in your system. The chlorophyll is not a replacement for those things.
Right.
And the maintenance is actually really good too. The maintenance is also very helpful for the gut as well. So you get a lot of vitamins and minerals in that one also. So yeah, I just wanted to address that one real quick. But also too, can you just before we close, can you talk about, or maybe you can't talk about it too much, but there is something exciting happening in
Oh,
the new year for you.
yes, yes. I I wrote a book, a recipe book, and it's coming out in January.
Nice.
And it's a recipe book of all their uncooked foods. So there are things like juices, lots of juicing recipes. There are smoothie recipes, salads. I call it nice cream, but it's, like frozen goodies that are
Dirt.
that are healthy for you. Yeah, you can eat them for dessert. You can eat them for breakfast if you want, because they're very healthy, made from fruit. and so it's recipes like that in there for beginners, people that want to incorporate more living foods into their diet, and it's coming out at the right time because, January, it's c-
Mhm.
cold and flu season, you
Mhm.
know, so people, could use those kind of recipes to boost, their immunity.
Yes, and then after all the holiday eating, we need a
Yes.
detox.
Yes, yes. And you could
And
use
hope
that book as a detox. I mean, there's plenty of juice recipes in there to do a 3-day juice fast or a 7-day juice feast, you know. So,
right.
yeah. Or you
Right.
can do a raw food cleanse with that book because nothing in there is cooked. So, and it's
Oh,
very simple, very few ingredients, and everything is easy to prepare. Yeah, you just need a blender and a juicer to prepare the recipes.
we like that. We like simplicity and
Yeah.
quick. We like things to be quick. I know I do. It's like if you're more prone to make it and be more consistent with it when you're not required to be in the kitchen for hours.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's exciting though. We're
Thank
happy for you.
you. Thank
It's
you.
very exciting, guys, because some of you on here may have known Kate for a really long time. Um, and she's made us recipes at our physical office in the past. So, some of those you may get in the book. And then a lot of them, like she said, are raw and that's what we need more of, right? It's just
Yes.
incorporating more of the raw living foods. So
Mm.
keep an ear out. We'll let you guys know when her book is available for purchase in the new year. Her ebook. So it's
Yes.
all online,
Yes.
um, or digital, I should say, the
Mhm.
book. And so, yeah, this is very exciting. Glad you could come on with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It was
Good talk.
exciting.
Good talk, Danielle. You're always good anyway.
You're so kind.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, guys. So we are coming to an end here. But this was fun. Glad we got to talk to Miss Kate Wharton for a while. Again, she's incredible, incredible cook. I got so many of her recipes and it never fails. It's never ever bad. So we will let you guys know when that ebook comes out. We'll announce that. And yeah, I mean, again, if you guys have any suggestions for the future for topics for Q&As, let us know. Spread the word, tell your friends. Also, um, in the past, we would tell you guys if you wanted a copy of the Q&A, you can, request it. You can email us, but actually on our YouTube page now, we've made all of the Q&As. I think there's only one that's missing because it didn't get recorded due to some technical issues, but we have all the Q&As on our YouTube channel at Common Sense Products YouTube channel. So they're open for the public. You can share them with your family, your friends. This one will be going up. Give us till the end of the week to get it up there, but the Q&As are for everyone. They're all recorded and they're on our page. So, um, spread the word, everybody. We will be back in new November. I was about to say in the new year, but it is not December yet. We will be back in November and we will be announcing that date and topic very soon. So just keep an eye out for that email as per usual. All right, everybody. Hope you guys have a lovely afternoon. Excuse me, lovely evening. And we will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.